Hey book friends, welcome back! Today I have for you my February wrap-up and my March TBR. This is the first wrap-up that I have done. Yes! We're getting somewhere with this. If you've watched my previous videos, you may have noticed that I only put up my February TBR about halfway through the month, which means that I didn't actually have a chance to get to all the books that I wanted to. I did, however, pick up a couple of extra books that weren't on my TBR list. On the last day of February, I just really wanted to read these books, so I did it. So all in all for February, I read 4.5 books, and 2 of those books are ones that I hadn't originally intended to read, which means that I only read 2.5 of the 5 books that I had in my February TBR. So the first book that I finished in February was Alana the First Adventure by Tamora Pierce, and this was my favourite book from about when I was 11, but when I reread this I realised that I didn't love this book as much as I had when I was younger. The story in this book itself isn't really complete on its own. You need the whole 4-book series to get the full picture, and that made it a little less of an enjoyable experience to read just this one on its own. So I'll give you a quick plot summary for this one. Alana is a young girl who has decided to switch places with her brother. Instead of him being sent off to be a knight, she's going to take his place because they look pretty much identical. And at the same time, he's going to go to where she would have trained to be a lady and learn to be a sorcerer instead. This first book covers her first 4 years at the palace, training to be a knight, trying to keep her gender a secret from everyone around her. At the same time, she is learning about the various aspects of growing up life at the palace, and also how it is to grow up around the only heir to the throne. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I have done a spoiler-free review and a discussion for it, and I will leave the links in the description box down below so you can go check those out. The second book that I read this month was Aristotle and Dante Discover the Universe by Benjamin Alias Sands. And if you can tell me how to pronounce that name properly, please do, because I'm not 100% sure that's right. That was an interesting book for me, because it's not the kind of book that I usually would have picked up. It was the Little Book Club Book of the Month for January and February, and I decided to join up to that book club, or follow along with that book club, just so that I can read some more things that are outside what I would typically read. Aristotle and Dante Discover the Universe is a coming-of-age story set in America, with the main characters being 2 Mexicans being raised in America. And it's a really interesting book. I don't really want to give away the plot because I'd rather you go check it out. I will be doing a review and discussion for it later on this month. Whether I will combine those into one video or whether there'll be 2 separate ones, I haven't quite yet decided. I really like this book. It was kind of an odd one for me because I didn't feel I really connected with the characters. They're 2 Mexican-American boys and quite different from me, but I did find that I was oddly compelled to read to the end of it and put off other obligations to actually get it finished because I was rather absorbed in it. So I'm not 100% sure what my feelings on it are, but yeah, as I said, I will be doing those reviews so I can try and work out how to put my thoughts into a little bit better detail, and you can check those out when they come out fairly soon. So the third book that I had originally planned to read and that I only got partway through is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This is an interesting book, and basically it is the hero telling the story of his life to a man who wants to record it for people to... I don't know actually why he wants to record it, but he wants to get this man's story on paper, so this guy is telling his story. It's very interesting. As you can see, I am a little bit over halfway through. The main reason that I stopped with this one is because it got up to an event that I wasn't 100% sure that I wanted to read through at that particular moment. But I will be going back to this. Hopefully I will get to finish this in March, and you will see it again shortly in my March TBR portion of this video. The third book that I finished reading in February, and the first of 2 that weren't on my TBR, is Night Pleasures by Sherilyn Kenyon. And for some reason on February 28th I just had the sudden urge to pick up a Sherilyn Kenyon novel and give it a good old read. So for those of you who don't know about Sherilyn Kenyon, her stories are paranormal romances. She also does a sci-fi romance series, but this is from the paranormal romance series. This is the 2nd book in the series, and I read this one first of the 2 that I read. The reason that I love the Sherilyn Kenyon novels is because you get action along with your romance. You're not just trying to, you know, follow this sexy romantic story. You've got good guys and bad guys, and there's fights, and it's pretty cool. So that's what this one was about. The main characters were quite interesting. I really like the book. I haven't decided what review or what rating to give it yet, and I probably won't review it until I've reread it later down the line because I haven't planned to review it now. And the final book that I managed to read in February, sort of, I think I finished it within sort of the first half hour after midnight, but it was Fantasy Lover by Sherilyn Kenyon, and this is the first book in the Dark Hunter series, which Night Pleasures is also from. And I enjoyed this one more than Night Pleasures, I have to admit. This one is about a Greek who is trapped in a scroll as a love slave, who gets summoned, or the girl who summons him thinks it's a joke, and then he comes out of the scroll and she decides she wants to free him, and it's got her romance with him tied up with that, and yeah, it's a really good book. Still don't know what I'm going to rate this one either, so I'm going to leave off reviewing this until I have read it again and actually sat down and thought about how I'm going to review it. So that means that the two books that I didn't get to read from my TBR in February are Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb and Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by J.K. Rowling. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is definitely going back on my TBR for March, but I'm not sure about Assassin's Apprentice. I might decide to get to it later in the month. It'll be a bonus book if I do, but I think I'm going to pick some other things to read for now. Since I'm going back to uni this month, I've only picked 2 other books to read. I don't want to overwhelm myself and not get to any of the books that I've planned to read. So we've got In the Hand of the Goddess by Tamora Pierce, which is the sequel to Alana the First Adventure. I'd really like to get the reviews for the rest of this series out for you so that you can watch them and read the books and discuss them all with me, because I really do feel that the series is better as a whole. So the sooner I can get the rest of the series reviewed for you, the sooner that you can decide you want to read all of them, or at least discuss them all with me. The other book that I really want to read is Northern Lights by Philip Pullman. It has been a very long time since I last read this book. This was actually another one of my favourites when I was quite young, and I remember it being a really good book and a really good series. It's from the His Dark Materials trilogy. This was actually made into a movie called The Golden Compass. I don't like the movie, I don't like the book cover related to the movie. However, they have brought out a new sparkly cover which is blue and silver, which more closely resembles this original design. And if they do the other 2 covers, the other 2 books in the series, in those same covers, I might be tempted to get a copy of all of those because they're gorgeous. I can't remember much about the plot of this one, but I will let you know all about it when I review it for you later on in the month. So that's all I've got for this video, guys. If you'd like to check out my Facebook page, there's a link in the description box below. There's also a link up here to my previous booktube video, which is the discussion of Alana the First Adventure. And on this side, there is a link to the videos on my vlog channel. I make daily vlogs with my partner, my fiance, and it's just basically videos of our daily lives if you're interested in that kind of thing. If you could also subscribe and give a thumbs up if you liked the video, that would also be appreciated. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya!